What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duque, and you're watching MD Noble Weekly, episode 34. Today is Wednesday, February the 7th, and, we've got a packed show for you today. The first thing I want to talk about is the constant evolution of marketing. I am the marketing director for Iron Mag Labs, and I think it's important for people to understand that everything changes, there's different approaches, but one thing that doesn't change is our commitment to serve you, the fans, here at Muscular Development. Muscular Development, to me, is the greatest bodybuilding magazine that ever lived, alongside Flex, and probably the greatest in contest coverage. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about today is the Super Bowl. Now, I was in Hollywood, Florida, at the Octopus, which is my favorite bar. We were down there, we were having drinks, and I was texting with Chris the Goon Griffin and Ron Harris, although I think Ron kind of turned the phone off because I was just like, and the funny thing is that I thought that the Pats were going to annihilate the guys from Philly, the Eagles. The Eagles. And I was convinced that that was going to happen. And I was psychoanalyzing every single play. And then the Pats did take the lead. The second half, I think, belongs to the Pats. I just think the first half was, the yardage wasn't quite there. But nonetheless, like Brady said, they had trouble. They weren't playing football on their terms. They had a rough first half. But this is a team that's known for coming back out of nowhere. And they were never really in nowhere. They were always just kind of like, trailing a little bit. And they were able to take the lead for a couple of minutes, which I think is pretty telling about how hard they were playing. But that's not what I'm here to talk about, though. And I'm sure glad I didn't gamble. Gambling can get you in a lot of trouble. See, I had 28-10 or 21-10 Pats over Eagles. See, right now I'd be basically at the homeless shelter. You know what I mean? But I did not gamble. But I will say, though, that I was shocked that the Eagles won. But congratulations to the Eagles. Congratulations to everyone from Philadelphia. What I don't understand is why you rioted. There was so much rioting that went on in Philly. Now, I went to University of Florida, and it's not, it's not out of the ordinary for the Gators to riot when they win. Just like it's not out of the ordinary for Gators to riot when they lose. But I just don't understand the concept of rioting after a victory. I get it after a defeat. I get it after like a bullshit call, like some of the calls from the Super Bowl. But the thing is, I don't understand, rioting when you win. I mean, it's like, look at MD. We're the greatest in contest coverage. We're the greatest in videos. We have the best web forums. But you don't see Ron Harris rioting. You don't see Ron going into the office, and taking Alan's desk and flipping it over. You don't see him going to Steve's office and, smashing all the displays. You don't see that. You don't see Steve, just, knocking Ron out or, whatever, like in a riot situation, trying to knock him out. I say trying. I don't think you'd knock out anyone from Boston. But the point is that you don't see that. MD is the greatest, but MD doesn't riot. So I don't understand why Philly, now you are the greatest in the National Football League, and instead of going down to Geno's for a cheesesteak, you're just like climbing up lampposts and tearing shit up. I don't get it. All right, let's talk some bodybuilding, shall we? I saw a video from Lin Bailey, and it said 35 days out, and she's training. And I don't know if you guys are aware, she's the inaugural women's physique Miss Olympia. And she's going to be at the Arnold. How interesting is that? Is this a Lin Bailey comeback? Now, I will say, as big of a fan as I was, am and will be a DLB, I didn't think then, and I don't think now, that she has the physique to best Juliana Malacarne. But that having been said, women's physique could sure use Lin Bailey in that roster, in that lineup, because let's not forget that there have been rules that were changed, as rules often are, that have affected women's physique. And there are, I think, trends in the fitness industry that have also seen the division, get canceled from some competitions. Why? Maybe because the popularity has waned a little bit. I think if Lin Bailey comes back and re-injects some of that lost hype, some of that lost popularity, some of that lost love, that we could see a resurgence of women's physique. Now, could it be that just one woman has that kind of power? Well, I'll let you answer that, because Arnold to bodybuilding would be the one man that could make, you know, a dull show into, you know, a mega success. You know what I mean? Arnold's presence, Lou Ferrigno to a certain extent also, Jake Cutler, you know, Lee Haney, who, by the way, has a brand new show, Breaking News with Lee Haney at Muscular Development. It's all happening at MD. Is a guy also who could go into a show or go into an event or go into a seminar that maybe isn't drawing optimal numbers, and all of a sudden you've got a hit. So I think, yeah, Dana Lin Bailey, if she did come back, if she did get on the stage, irrespective of what her placing would be, I think she would breathe all sorts of new life into the women's physique division, especially at the Arnold Classic, which I think, honestly, I love the Arnold. But honestly, the Arnold is a business. A show is a business. A promoter is not a charity worker. A promoter needs to make money. Of course, promoters love the sport. Otherwise, they'd be doing, you know, promoters are such intelligent people and they're so on the ball. They could do any million of different things to make money. Why do they choose bodybuilding? Bodybuilding is very tough. It's very difficult to make money, but they choose it because they love it. So the promoter's, you know, interaction with the sport can never be questioned. I mean, honestly, it really can never be questioned. But in addition to that love, yes, at the end of the day, they are business people, businessmen and businesswomen, and they need to cut a profit. Now, if the division is sort of lagging a little bit, it does not make sense to pay the hotel accommodations, the airfare, the per diem, okay, the contests, all that stuff, for all of the competitors. So the way it is now is if you get top 10, you get all these amenities. If you're out of the top 10, well, then the Arnold's not going to foot the bill. At least that was my understanding of the most recent change that I'm aware of. Now, when Dana Lin Bailey competed in women's physique, everybody got their stuff taken care of immediately, because women's physique was like this new thing that everybody wanted to be a part of. When the change happened at the Arnold, a lot of those top-tier women did not show up. And a lot of those top-tier women, I believe, have either retired or moved on to different things or simply are not competing. I think if Dana Lin Bailey did compete, we would see a lot of those familiar, super, super talented names return to the fold. And I think we would see, like I said, a rebirth in the division. That is, of course, if she's going to compete. It could also just be 35 days until, you know, she takes her booth at the expo. So I don't know. But I think there could be no greater boom, no greater boost, no greater help to the women's physique division than if Dana Lin Bailey returned to the Arnold Classic stage in 2018. Now, speaking also about 2018 is Dennis the Big Bad Wolf. A lot of people, again, are sort of falling into this sort of, I think, this trap that a lot of people fell into with the return of the Maryland Muscle Machine, Kevin Levrone, when he did that Mr. Olympia, is that everybody thought, well, Kevin's got to win. If Kevin doesn't win, it's not worth it. Well, of course it's worth it. Kevin made a commitment to Mr. Jim Mannion, who offered him a special invitation at his Pittsburgh Pro Show, and he saw that through. He got on the Olympia stage. He was in agonizing pain. He was getting fluid drained out of his legs, but he made the commitment, and he saw it through. And honestly, I think the fact that Dennis Wolf made the commitment, it was before the Olympia last year that he was going to be doing the Arnold Classic. And here he is, going to take the stage, something that Big Ramy also promised to do and is not taking the stage. And I understand, because he is the Mr. Olympia runner-up. And in all honesty, it would be foolish for him to peak twice at that level in 1 year if he truly wants to win a Sandow and take it back to Oxygen Gym in Kuwait. However, he did make a commitment, and he did pull out. Dennis Wolf made the commitment, and as long as he steps on stage in Columbus, like Kevin Levrone did at the Mr. Olympia, then Dennis will have kept his word and saw it through. And I think that is a huge victory in and of itself. Now, how will he place? That's an interesting question. I mean, you have Sean Flexitron Roden, who has been a Mr. Olympia runner-up, an Arnold Classic runner-up. You have William Bonac, who a lot of people believe could have been second or first at the Mr. Olympia, despite whatever Louis Marco may say. You've got, oh my God, you've got Dexter the Blade Jackson. Not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5-time Arnold Classic champion and your 2008 Mr. Olympia. So again, you've got very, very dangerous people in the lineup, and there's still names that I'm not mentioning. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's Cedric McMillan, last year's champion. You know, so there's a lot of people that will be at this Arnold Classic, and I think, again, you know, with the depth of the lineup, you know, in the open bodybuilding, and I believe Hidetada Yamagishi is also been competing in open bodybuilding, which a lot of 212ers are kind of, they don't want to talk about. I don't know why. Some are very open about it, and some just choose not to say a word. It is a little controversial. Hidetada has placed as high as 10th in the Mr. Olympia Open. Hidetada is not someone that needs to hide in the 212. And I don't think a lot of the top 212 guys need to hide in there either. Okay, in all honesty, I mean, you take a guy like Jose Raymond. Jose Raymond can, you know, jump into the open, and he's dangerous. You know, and the same thing I would say for Flex Lewis, only Flex Lewis, to my recollection, in the last, half decade, has not come anywhere near the open. So I don't know. But I still believe it would be very, very cool for the fans to put Flex Lewis versus Phil Heath side by side and pick the Mr. Olympia. But the thing is, the 212 Showdown is not the Mr. Olympia short class. It is a 212 Olympia Showdown. It is a completely different division. So I think that's where people get it a little mixed up. And you're like, well, why does a 212 guy make so much less than the Mr. Olympia? Because there is only one Mr. Olympia for bodybuilding. And then there is a 212 Showdown. These are basically two different shows, and they're basically two different shows within a bigger show. Two different divisions, basically. I mean, they're both bodybuilding, but they're really not the same thing. You win the 212, you are not, and this is a problem that I have, you are not the 212 Mr. Olympia. You are the 212 Mr. Olympia Showdown champion. And I think that, you know, if people want to be Mr. Olympia, they have to compete in the open. And I just think that's really how the cookie crumbles. And, you know, and I think that it's important for accuracy. Okay, now the other thing I want to talk about is a project that I'm involved with. It's called Mid-Atlantic Muscle. It is backed up by the Mid-Atlantic NPC. This is a phenomenal project. Get this. Let me tell you about this project because it's going to blow your mind, okay? We are going to film in Louisville, Kentucky. We're going to film based around 6 Kentucky shows. And then in addition to that, we are going to do interviews, press, and promo for 24 other NPC Mid-Atlantic Zone competitions. Now, Mid-Atlantic Muscle is sponsored by Iron Mag Labs. It is also sponsored by Olympia Tan, and we are in negotiations with several other sponsors. Now, get this. It will be hosted by yours truly and Jimmy Hornbeck, NPC judge, contest prep guru, posing prep coach, entrepreneur, bodybuilder in his own right, the husband of the beautiful Monica Hornbeck, IFB Pro. So that's going to be awesome. It will be filmed and photographed by MD Latino's own Mr. Hector Mendoza, with executive producers Rick Bayardi and Gary Udit, who are, to me, very, very good friends, and I'm greatly appreciative of everything they do for me, looking out for me. I am 110% loyal to the NPC. Without the NPC, I am nothing. So that's important to say. And also, it will be filmed at my good friend John Powers' Body Solutions training facility in Louisville, Kentucky. We have a secret group on Facebook where we've been sort of plotting and planning and all this stuff that we're going to do. It's going to be a fantastic show. It's going to be available at midatlanticmuscle.net when that's ready to go. We're going to have a Facebook group soon. We already have our Instagram at midatlanticmuscle. It's going to be fantastic. So be on the lookout for that. I also have a project in the works with, well, I can't talk about that yet, but it's a Spanish project, which is going to be really, really cool. I'm just doing all sorts of stuff. Like I said, it's all about change. It's constant change, and you know, you just got to wait. You just got to see what's coming up. 2018 is going to be a very, very big year. And also for Muscular Development, who honestly, you know, with Lee Haney coming on board, that is huge. Kevin Lavroni, I mean, it's just, and then contest coverage. You can't forget about contest coverage. I am still a huge believer in contest coverage. I think that it is very, very important to the success of a real bodybuilding website. So I think that is all huge. So, I mean, really, guys, last week I did my first episode of This Week in Bodybuilding, available at strengthaddicts.com. I had the debut interview with my good friend Dale Chance, who's a sponsored athlete. champion bodybuilder, social media personality. I'm hoping that in the coming weeks I'll have a Facebook Live, Instagram Live interview with my good friend, the Maryland Muscle Machine, Kevin Levroni, who's already agreed to do it. I just got to figure out when. So there's just a lot of stuff. I'm getting tagged by Sean Ray on posts on Facebook. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, I really feel like everything is coming together. You know what I mean? And we have a great team at Iron Mag. We've got Chris the Goon Griffin with Down and Dirty. We've got Comerica Muscle with Superhero Strong. We've got Rick Drazen with Tips from Rick. We got Greg Valentino with Greg Valentino Live. You got me with This Week in Bodybuilding, breaking news, and occasionally the Instagram Live. Last time I did Instagram Live, Greg wasn't feeling well, so I did that. And marketing director, and then working for Tokyo Nutrition also, and just doing all sorts of stuff. To me, this is like a really, really cool time. I'm writing articles, and I'm basically leading up 2 departments for 2 companies, and I got this. But understand, though, that should you not see this next week or next month or whenever, that everything is part of a greater, bigger picture. And the relationships that we have to the people that we have are sacred. They're sacrosanct. I am so proud of what Ron Harris has done at Muscular Development. And quite frankly, I believe the more autonomy that Ron has, the more of a success this publication online will be. I believe that Steve Blackman is an amazing publisher, an amazing business person. I believe Ron Harris is the captain of the ship here. And as I said, the more control that Ron gets, the more successful this online website will be. And so with that, I leave you, not for good, maybe for a few, but this has been an absolute blast, episode 34. I will see you soon, my friends. Take care. Christian Duque, MD Noble Weekly. Peace.